In a not-so-distant future, Europe has been ravaged by a mysterious apocalyptic event, leaving behind only a few survivors. A strange, unseen presence manipulates people into taking their own lives, and this force is rapidly spreading across the planet. In a deserted skating rink in Barcelona, a man named Sebastian and his daughter Anna find a brief moment of peace, enjoying each other's company. But the calm is shattered by a sudden noise, prompting them to flee in fear. While turning into a hallway, Sebastian is knocked down by a group of blind individuals. After striking him a few times, they steal his backpack filled with supplies and leave. Spotting a broken bottle nearby, Sebastian considers using it for protection, but Anna convinces him not to. They then blindfold themselves and leave the building, entering a cityscape littered with destruction and corpses. As they move through the devastated streets, they encounter a small band of survivors. Sebastian tells Anna to stay hidden and approaches the group, asking if they can join. The survivors are suspicious of him, so Sebastian claims he was once a construction engineer and knows where to find power generators that could offer heat and lighting. The promise convinces them to let him in. They bring Sebastian to a bus depot where other survivors are hiding. There he meets Liliana, a doctor who helps with his wounds. Over dinner, Sebastian also meets a man who has sewn his eyes shut in a desperate effort to protect himself and stay sane. This man recounts horrifying incidents he witnessed when others succumb to the entity's influence. He explains that although most people are vulnerable to the entity, a select few are immune and can walk around without blindfolds. These rare individuals are referred to as seers, and they often turn hostile toward those who aren't immune, hunting them down. After night falls and everyone is asleep inside the bus, Sebastian seizes the moment. He sneaks around, swipes the keys from the office, and attempts to start the bus. Liliana wakes up and tries to intervene, but Sebastian locks the front door, claiming that he's trying to free them. After fumbling with several keys, he finally starts the vehicle and drives it erratically, disturbing the rest of the survivors. They break in and try to stop him, but the commotion only worsens his driving until he crashes through the exit and the bus flips over outside. Once he crawls out, Sebastian announces the arrival of the entity, calling it beautiful. One of the men sees it and immediately ends his while Sebastian watches a glowing essence rise from his body. The others step outside with their eyes shut, but Sebastian forces them to look. He uses brutal means to make each of them expose their eyes, resulting in their deaths. As their glowing spirits drift upward, Anna reappears and grabs Sebastian's hand, telling him it's okay because he saved them. Suddenly, a memory takes over. 9 months earlier, when the catastrophe first reached Barcelona. Sebastian was at work when chaos broke out. He received a call from his wife urging him to pick up Anna from school. As people around him began taking their own lives, he rushed out, witnessing scenes of mass panic. On the subway platform, wounded people filled the area and objects began floating ominously. Realizing the danger, he ran out while others fell victim to the force. He finally reached the school, where he found a nun lifeless on a desk and terrified students huddled together. He grabbed Anna and they escaped, but an explosion near the exit forced them to take refuge in the school chapel. There they met the school pastor, Esteban, who believed the entity was a divine being, too holy to look upon. He thought death was the only salvation from its presence. This radical belief deeply influenced Sebastian. Sebastian then shielded Anna under his coat and rushed home, only to witness his wife being struck by a vehicle. Back in the present, father and daughter stop at a church to pray. There, Sebastian sees a painting move, a clear sign that he's a seer, a deluded one who thinks he's liberating souls by exposing them to the entity. As they roam the streets again, they witness more people succumbing to the force. Sebastian calls the glowing lights angels. Not long after, he spots a woman entering a store and attempts to ambush her, but a pack of dogs attacks him. A group of survivors, led by the dog's owner Rafa, steps in. The group includes Octavio, a couple named Roberto and Isabel, Claire, and a young German girl named Sophia, who reminds Sebastian of Anna. Sebastian asks to join them. Though Rafa is skeptical, Sebastian once again wins their trust with his story about the generators. But when signs of the entity's arrival, floating objects appear, the group quickly evacuates. They retreat to an old war bunker, and though Sebastian insists he's alone, Anna's ghost still appears, pushing him to use Sophia to draw others out. Eventually, Sebastian admits he lied about the generator. A confrontation breaks out, but Sophia intervenes, pleading for peace. Sebastian speaks German and connects with her, learning that she was separated from her mother and witnessed many deaths when the outbreak began. She also heard about a mountaintop castle rumored to be a sanctuary. She draws a sketch of it, and Isabel recognizes it as Montjuic. After debating, the group agrees to head there in hopes of finding food and safety. That night, Sebastian dreams about all that has happened. By morning, they start their journey, stopping briefly to get a map. Being outside triggers another memory for Sebastian. 8 months earlier, he was using GPS to find a hospital for a sick Anna. Just as he reached the building, strange objects floated again, forcing him to abandon the mission and return home. That evening, the group rests and Sebastian sees Anna trailing behind. Once everyone is asleep, he weakens the dog's leash. The next morning, the entity surrounds them, mimicking the voices of lost loved ones. Confused and vulnerable, the group is in danger. The dogs run away, and Sophia nearly uncovers her eyes after hearing her mother's voice, but Octavio stops her. Rafa hears the dogs crying and lifts his blindfold, immediately dying. The dogs return to him, and Roberto also gets attacked. Octavio leads them to safety and theorizes the entity is some kind of quantum being that reacts to human emotions like fear and sorrow. Sebastian begins questioning everything. Sophia won't stop crying, so he gives her Anna's necklace, triggering another flashback. Esteban and his group were forcing people to expose their eyes in the streets. Sebastian tried to protect Anna with music, isolating her in the apartment. In the present, Sebastian keeps seeing Anna, confirming she's just a ghost. Claire tries to connect with him and warns that the entity uses memories of loved ones to manipulate them. While Anna's spirit tries to sway him, Sebastian's doubt deepens. When Roberto collapses from infection, Claire, Sebastian, and Octavio search the building for medicine. In one room, Sebastian sees Anna and tricks Octavio into removing his blindfold. Octavio sees the entity and dies, but this time Sebastian can't see the glowing soul. His belief is faltering. The building starts trembling, and Anna urges him to take Claire's blindfold off. Fortunately, Claire drags him away just in time. They regroup with the others, and Sebastian struggles between following Anna or Sophia. As they continue toward Montjuic, they find Esteban's symbols and encounter a seer on a bicycle. The seer attacks, knocking down Roberto and Isabel. Realizing they're cornered, the couple removes their blindfolds and dies together. The entity looms closer, so Sebastian pulls Claire and Sophia into shelter. Claire notices that Sebastian's goggles are see-through. He's a seer who murdered the others. Horrified, she flees with Sophia. Sebastian gives chase as Anna urges him to kill them. They reach the rooftop, where he confronts Claire and tries to remove Sophia's blindfold. But Anna appears, bleeding, and guilt overwhelms him. Instead of harming Sophia, he hugs her. This sparks another memory. On Anna's birthday, someone broke into their apartment and knocked out Sebastian. When he came to, he was on a rooftop with Esteban and his cult, who forced Anna to open her eyes. She died in front of him, and afterward, Sebastian looked at the entity too. Anna's ghost appeared, urging him to save. Seers, it turns out, are being used by the entity to gather more victims. In the present, Sebastian saves Claire and confesses everything. He's come to his senses and vows to protect them. Just then, the seers storm the building. A female seer attacks Sebastian, trying to blind him, but he overpowers her and she falls to her death. The group escapes to the street, steals a car, and races off while being chased by Esteban's group. As they reach the cable car tower, Sebastian detonates the vehicle to stop the pursuers. He then urges Claire and Sophia to keep going while he holds back Esteban. As the two men argue about belief and purpose, Claire and Sophia climb the stairs. Sophia nearly falls, but Claire saves her. Realizing it's impossible to climb blindfolded, Claire removes hers. At the top, they discover the cable cars aren't working. Thinking quickly, Claire rings a massive bell to create vibrations, drawing the entity in. The ground shakes and the cable cars begin to tremble. Claire covers her eyes again as the creature gets closer, trying one last time to tempt them, attempting to tempt them by mimicking the familiar voices of their loved ones. Just as Sophia loses her balance and begins to fall, Claire reaches out and saves her in the nick of time. Meanwhile, back on the ground, Sebastian has a harrowing encounter. He sees Anna walking through a burning car and instinctively attacks her, desperate to banish this painful hallucination. But as the flames clear, he realizes too late It was actually Esteban. In a tragic twist, Sebastian drives an iron rod into Esteban, who immediately retaliates with his own weapon. Both men refuse to give in, each pushing their weapons deeper to prevent the other from escaping. Back at the tower, Claire clutches Sophia tightly and focuses. She leaps into one of the cable cars just as it sways into motion, managing a safe landing and finally securing their escape. Far below, Sebastian, fatally wounded, watches the cable cars begin to move. Seeing that Claire and Sophia have made it out, he dies with a sense of peace, knowing his actions contributed to their survival. Esteban also succumbs to his injuries. Claire and Sophia eventually arrive at a large castle and are greeted by military personnel. To their surprise, there's a thriving community living within its walls. Sophia is joyfully reunited with her mother, while Claire is led to a scientific facility located inside the stronghold. In the lab, researchers begin running blood tests on Claire. Curious, she asks about the purpose of the experiment. They explain that they're trying to identify a chemical marker linked to trauma, something that could help them pinpoint the exact emotions the entity feeds on. Their ultimate objective is to create an antibody that would grant immunity to its influence. Sometime later, the researchers test the antibody by injecting it into a group of lab rats, which are then placed in a secure containment area. Elsewhere in the facility, a seer, one of the earlier test subjects, lies restrained in bed. Suddenly, a deep, threatening growl echoes from the containment room. The seer, overwhelmed and trembling, begs to be allowed to look at the creature, unable to resist the pull any longer.